pick exotic propulsion people because I know they're really interested in sacred symbolism and physics. And so I was just thinking about that. So it's really good to be back or to be here for the first time. The space time thing is confusing, but like,
I love that. I love that. Awesome. And we've got Pat Pryor out there saying congrats. Thank you, Pat, for being here. We thank you for spending your time with us. Yeah, it's been a really crazy year. I mean, I know for me, my friendship with Brian started through a light painting photo group, and I just really loved his stuff. And I got in touch with him, and then the tarot deck thing was something that we really kind of had in common. I was really into the metaphysical stuff and thinking about doing my artwork as a tarot deck until I met Brian and realized I know nothing about tarot. And I guess that's part of this show is really to kind of take me through it step by step. And we're going through his deck card by card. And I'm excited because I was looking at some of the princess cards and there's a couple of them that are like blowing me away. Seeing princesses of like all interdimensional princesses of all different dimensions. Pretty cool stuff.
So let me ask you, what's been the coolest thing about it? What's been the coolest thing, and what's been the most unexpected thing about this journey?
I think a lot of it didn't go the way I expected it. You know what I mean? That the whole kind of teacher relationship that developed was really interesting for me. But experience-wise, I mean, definitely what you were talking about when we started going into the numerology, and you went to the cemetery, and all of these numbers started popping up, and these codes started coming out, and
That
messages.
was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome turn. And then of course the wonderful guests that we have who are all sitting there so patiently at the bottom. I love that the show developed into that. I mean, originally it was just me and you, and then we started having these amazing people on who are just connected to energy. You know what I mean? I think really the tarot is all about energy, just another way of expressing it and communicating with it. And I think that's the common thing between all of our guests, that basic belief. So this is cool. I'm like at home. I wish I had some popcorn. I know Frankie said she wanted to smoke a joint. Go ahead, and anytime you're ready.
Yeah.
But I love this stuff. I love the platform that we're on right now, that the six of us can hang out really literally across the world right now, all in one moment, be together, bring our energies together and have these conversations and just enjoy the moment. It's got a lot of intention to it. So I think it's
and that's one of my favorite things about the show. It's like, it is about the tarot, which is, an ancient art, but at the same time, that really has transformed into a show about energy. And I'm stoked about that, man.
Yeah.
We've done some physical effects on the show. We've done all kinds of energy work on the show.
Amazing stuff. Yeah.
It's like a tarot show plus. So
as we're talking about energy, about that. Yeah. As we're talking about energy, Ricochet Midnight comes into the picture. And what's up, Ricochet?
Yo, what's up? Happy anniversary, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
I'm here live from Nashville.
Wow.
Visiting
I'm jealous.
Visiting my cousin for his birthday. And they're in a place called the Bowery Vault right back there somewhere. And it's
awesome.
In there. I'm sort of on the roadside doing this.
Yeah, thank you for taking a few minutes out to come share it with us, man. You've been awesome. So much part of the journey, like this whole group of people that has kind of congealed together has become like this really cool little family. And it's really appropriate that you're here tonight because the card for the night is the Princess, which is all about inspiration and imagination and the art. So thank you very much.
Did anybody else notice that he also popped in while I was talking about how everybody's here from all around the world, and all of a sudden, boom, Nashville pops in. that was awesome.
Yeah,
was awesome.
I wouldn't miss it, man.
Awesome. We just lost someone. I'm trying to think. I'm so excited. I don't know who he lost. Maybe
Frankie,
he came back.
Yes.
Frankie is the person that started the Goddess Gathering here. She's got a long history in the tattoo world. She and Michael knew each other for a long time before this. Yeah, and we've gotten to be really good friends and have been working on a bunch of stuff. She's helping me get this gallery thing, the museum thing happening in Sebring, which will be coming up next year. And it's just been such a really joyous and happy. And we had our amazing little piece of heaven last week, heaven on, and that whole,
that was awesome.
what an amazing, that's your best piece of work, Frankie.
I know she is. She's my masterpiece. I can't believe I created a creature like that. And she's so much of an older soul than I am. She's beyond me. So the conversation she had with you on your podcast was the way she spoke when she was like 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow.
Like,
and I gotta tell you, she reminded me so much of you, Frankie. So much of just the energetic signature reminded me of you when I knew you on Long Island. And I mean, and I don't think, I mean, we knew each other through the tattoo industry and we worked together a couple times, but we didn't really know each other. But I mean, I guess I felt a connection somehow, back then with you, not really, thinking much of it. But when I was speaking to Heaven, I was just brought back to that energetic signature. It was awesome. I really loved it.
Thank you. Actually, you were able to see her perform then too, weren't you?
I was trying to remember, like, I probably may even have some video of it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. I had digitized a bunch of tapes. I don't remember any tattoo show stuff.
I'll send you the videos we have on YouTube.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
so Rick, I know you probably won't be able to stay all that long, but I wanted to ask you, I mean, you've been through so many of the shows, like, I mean, pretty much from the beginning. Do you have any standout moments?
Oh, wow. You know what? I got to get somewhere a little bit less loud.
All right.
So I didn't even realize Ricochet Midnight is Rick Midler?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even put that together until you just said that.
That's
awesome.
I always wanted to use that for like an alter ego for something, and I never did, so I put it on here.
I love it.
I'm going to use it one day for like music or like an alternate art piece or something. I don't know.
I love it. What a great play on
I've had it for a while. I just never knew what to do with it. But
Rick's an amazing advertising guy. He did a bunch of M&M. We met each other in that mode. I directed a couple things for him, and over the years we just became really, really fast friends. And he's transitioned into he's still doing that, but he's like, man, his art has just taken off. And we had him on the show and showed some of the stuff. He does these amazing compositions with torn patterned paper, and like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Amazing.
It's been a really long friend on the path, man. So
yeah, I met Brian, through another, like, an art director who was working for me at the time, who I think befriended you, and on a shoot or something like that, and said, you got to meet this guy, and did everything in the world to hook us up together. I don't talk to him anymore, but but Brian and I have been he's just been an inspiration. There's my cousin Shelly. Happy birthday, buddy. You want to be on a podcast for a second? Here. This is
nice.
That's
my happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Man? We're hanging in Nashville, baby.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. I gotta admit.
Came to Nashville.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't miss this either. So all right, go ahead. I'll be in. So the first time I met,
amazing energy, bro.
I didn't expect to be at a birthday party in Nashville tonight. That's awesome. See,
an anniversary and a birthday party in Nashville.
Dude,
it's amazing.
Perfect.
So when Brian came to New York City, stayed in a hotel in Midtown, and he had these gigantic portfolio cases that were all painted with I don't even know what the word is for how, I don't know if you guys have seen it. There it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
there it is. But he showed me these things, and each page is handmade and
phenomenal,
and something that's very deep and spiritual and resonated with me on such a real level, and I wanted to know more about this guy and how he thinks and the passion and the detail that he puts into his work, no matter what it is, whether it's the light paintings or the tarot cards. And actually, a quick thing. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but
no, great.
but he showed me the tarot deck before it was released and said, I have a bunch of these things, and what do you think? And this is what some of the I might do with this image or that image. And that was the first time I actually started looking into the tarot to see like sort of how his art was matching up with certain things, and to be asked to have an opinion on it was just was a beautiful moment for me. And I mean, I thank you for that experience too, because that got me into this in a very early stage with the deck. And so when you were doing, and I have the deck obviously, and when you started doing the podcast, I was like, I try to be in as many times as I can, because
you make me happy.
We love it. We
and to
love
answer your
having
question, the best part of I don't have one thing that stands out specifically from any of the podcasts, but overall, the storytelling of the Fool's Journey from the beginning and how it relates to the next card and the next card and the next card, and how he frames it in a storyteller's way, is something that I have decks, and I have one of my favorites is the Salvador Dali deck, and I got to see the original works in a show in London that were made into that deck, and I still love that deck. And right next to that deck is Brian's. Those are the only two I have out.
Oh, dude.
And no, seriously. And I do have other decks, but I don't really, they're tucked away somewhere.
That's awesome.
But no matter what I read on it, to have a better understanding of it, the way that Brian tells the story and characterizes the characters of the card is, for me, I think, my favorite part of it.
It's amazing.
So
awesome.
There you go.
Awesome.
And that's just an testament to what I always say is his artistry is just, it's on so many different levels. So even that is just another level of how he presents his stuff. Salvador Brian. So I just want to shout out, we have a troll in the audience. I just want to shout her out because Paula Berlinski is out there, being a troll.
Are they a troll or are they like a Christian? I couldn't quite tell.
But you know what? I love it because any comments just help our algorithm, I believe. So thank you. We appreciate all comments, regardless of whether we bring them up on screen or not.
Why would the troll say?
Oh, you're not
side
on
effects of tarot.
They're watching on YouTube and just something obnoxious.
So that last comment's by Pat Pryor. That's by Patty, our Tibetan
Patty
and Jack.
Yeah.
And sitting in center position right now is our favorite rebel.
So patiently. What's up, Yogi?
Let me introduce Satya. Satya and I got together with we met through a Tibetan bowl meditation that our friends Patty and Jack do, and they've come on and played many times. And by the way, did you get them a link by any chance?
Who? Patty and I sent all of the links to the emails that I believe you sent me. I believe they were on that list. Yeah.
Anyway, Satya, I got invited.
If you guys need a link, let me know. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, and Satya, I got invited, and it was I had a really amazing connection with Patty when I was selling a bunch of my stuff, getting ready to move, and I'd sold some of my Tibetan bowls, and she and I just really connected. We spent hours talking, and she invited me to this meditation thing. I went a couple times, and she starts inviting me to tell some people some stuff and share some of what I've been working on. And Satya's the skeptic of the fucking yeah, you're all badass. Yeah, show me something first, man. He was like really, really offish. And we wound up connecting on this energetic level that has just been really just amazing and wonderful. He's put together this yoga program for my 60-year-old broken ass body that is just helping me.
Awesome.
Yeah, feel really good. And I'm really happy that you chose to come and share some time with us. Thank you very much.
Totally,
my catchphrase for my website is "Be authentic without apology," and I really appreciate that. Brian is him. You know, he's him. He does him. He doesn't care how, you know, if something comes to mind, he just goes with it, and he does flirt. You know, he's very just him. There's no apology there, and I really appreciate that. You know, we did.
He knows why he's here. He's here. He's here to be Brian, and he knows it. You know,
really happy you came to share the moment with us.
Yeah, man, totally happy you came back.
And I want to have you back on. One of my favorite things, you know, with having you on is, you know, you're not a tarot guy, but you're an energy guy. You know, and that's one of those reasons I've responded to the routine that you've like set up for me so much, is because it is all about an energy flow. It's really visible and feelable, and yeah, so I would really like to have you back on, and you know, the last couple of tidbits that you left us with. I always like to do practical stuff here. You know,
I think that's the best stuff on the show, is when we do demos and we actually, you know, do exercises together. Yeah, that's the greatest.
You know, enough talking. Let's actually do some stuff. You know, I love that. And so, anything that you have, I put you on the spot. Any little tidbit you want to share with us right now?
Well, I'm reminded of a quote by Jiddu Krishnamurti, which said, "Philosophy has nothing to do with life," you know? And it's like, you know, a lot of people, whether it's New Age or whatever, we like to talk about everything from the 10th dimension to this, but if you're not, we're still in bodies. And if we're not embodying some aspect of it, maybe it's just appreciation, you know, maybe it's creative flair, maybe it's conversation, but if we're not really present here, you know, and so that's that beautiful bound, that triangle up and down, you know, that sometimes we think it's like a Star of David or whatever historically it comes from, but is our growing up to consciousness and also being grounded down as well. So I'm very into the practical spirituality stuff. I love your stories that are super out there. You know, I definitely find them amazing, but I also just like how two people look at each other in the eyes and be real, you know?
Totally. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking at the moment. I'm like looking at the screen and I'm like, man, we're all so different, but we're all connected on this level of just, I think, deep understanding of that fact, right? That we're just all connected. So it doesn't even matter how different we are. It's just,
you know, that's the thing I really love about, I'm not usually a joiner, you know, so I expected to go to maybe a meditation or two and be polite and back out. But what I found was, I mean, there are people there all over the world. There's people in India, there's people all over everywhere. And it's this kind of like tight little group that has a sonic resonance, an energetic resonance, that even though they're into kind of different things, like Satya and I don't practice exactly the same thing, but there's a resonance between us. And when those bowls are happening and you go like really deep and you're in that vortex of that, it's an amazing experience, you know, and that's kind of what's happening here too. You know, everybody's kind of got their own vibe and resonance, but it's a really beautiful harmony.
I love it. We got a cool saying here out. Deco died. Welcome. Deco died. I think I said that right. The fool, the pool, the initial inertia of the enter to eartha to fall into new waters. I don't think that's, I think that's something nice.
I think it's a really very fair description of the fool. You know, it's diving on headlights, taking off on that, like going for the sun over the thing, but not having a clue what's going to happen in between.
And I see Jilly's out there. She's asking for a link. And
yo, hey Jilly,
it's happening too. Beautiful energy. Jilly, I'm going to send you a link in just a moment. I would love to give the floor to Andreas and
absolutely.
Raphael, since they're up so late. What time is it over there, guys? Actually, Andreas,
man, he's like
California.
I forgot. You're usually, but you come from over in Europe, right?
Everything's permissible in Soviet California.
Who doesn't come from Europe?
And it can change the time continuum.
Well, I know Raphael. It's late where Raphael is, so I just wanted to give these guys.
Wait, what time is it where you are, Raphael?
It's 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Meanwhile, I'm the one yawning like it's 3:30 a.m. because I've been up since 5 a.m.
Because they have 5 coffees in Wien. It's like it's a whole different culture. They love their coffee.
That's great. All right.
Well, I don't know. So I guess it's interesting talking about energy. I did make a bunch of tarot cards growing up. I made like a series of them. I don't think I have all of them anymore. I have like half of them. I have my
wow.
Fool and my Magician, and I was working on ones where like the female characters were like lovers in my life who like we're no longer in love with, and I still might use them because it'd be hilarious. But
Oh wow.
you know, maybe good to like vectorize and woodcut my like do some weights decking of my tarot cards. It could be. You can get a lot across without exactly having it be your personal idiom. And that's the other thing is so people talk about
they're all your ex-lovers?
the female characters like the queen or the magician or the empress or something things like that. Actually, no, I'm the magician and the fool and things like that. But there are some of the female characters.
That's awesome.
Because I was like 19, I'd be like, hey girl, can you just sit in this chair and then I'll have you be in the, you know, that's kind of how that worked out.
How did you do? Did you paint it or did you photograph
So
it?
I was doing Photoshop. I would like do a photo of me doing things. I think I could almost find a
I
couple
would
of them.
love to see it. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, to that point, like, you know, I'm really happy that you came on the group thing and the celebration, but I really would love to have you on for a whole show, and I would hope maybe you could find one or two of those.
Yeah, I can definitely get at least I have like 3 or 4 of them, like Hangman, Fool, Magician. I have at least all of those because I know I'd made those like profile pictures. I made some of them when I was like 16 because I remember like some of like the Hangman I must have done when MySpace still exists. Awesome. So these are cards that I'm making throughout my life, I think, to have like a deck that represents experiences. And I think like Freud and you know, people give Freud a bad rap. I give Freud a bad rap. I mean, he's a coked out werewolf and Austrian, but that's not the problem. I still think his approach, though, eventually I've learned to appreciate more because of Carl Jung, because Jung talks about man and his symbols. So it's your mother or whatever your mother means to you, you know, so it could be a Teddy Ruxpin if you're from the 80s, or it doesn't, a lot of things could change in our approach to what we love or what our symbol for love or lack of love comes from these experiences. So it's important for us to reanalyze the material path that we're approaching love from. I think, you know, the Tao of this comes to mind also. We have to always try to make sure that what we're doing is from love. Otherwise, it's repetition to the point that it loses its justice and it loses it. It just becomes a ritual, you know, so we have to be careful with that. And that's like also why I think it's cool what Brian you're doing, because you're trying to really make sure to no, I mean, because Manly P. Hall talks about the symbols are not made for the uninitiated. And so you'll have all these symbols that people are charging up. And what's the problem with that? You get like the swastika, which is thousands of years of love. And then it takes like 15 minutes for it to become a hate symbol because of ignorance, really. It's just ignorance leading to charging a symbol with negativity. And that has a pendulum.
You see that example in so many directions right now, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. It's going in every direction with our love. You know, God is often connected to people's understanding of the father, of their family nucleus. So like there's an ableism to our approach to what we accept as spirituality. I liked what Sashi was talking about in terms of the material reality, because, you know, wisdom is kind of focused on the inner relationship and qualities of things. And that's really important. But we also have to like deal with the practical reality of interacting with each other, which is super weird because right now we're talking to each other, like you said, all around the world. That's crazy. That's
amazing. I love that.
It's amazing. And but the thing is, magic happens every day in practical ways, and people just kind of ignore it. And that's it's getting more and more insane how much magic is happening and how much we just live with illusions. You're going to be seeing projections on mist of advertisements, you know, very quickly. Right? The sorcery is getting really energized. It's amazing. But it, you know, we also kind of ignore it because we're like, okay, big deal.
Oh man, I love your energy, dude, and I can't wait to talk to you more. But we have a surprise visit. I'm super excited in the green room. Welcome to our party. We've got Jilly, we've got Sunshine, and we've got Danielle. It's a total party, an energetic freaking party. Yes. Thank you. Woo!
Solid energetic shift. I like it.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So much energy you brought to the table.
Wow,
I love it.
So
Thank
glad
you,
to see you guys. Thanks.
Nice.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. So good to see you guys. Oh my God, that's so cool.
Okay, all right, hold on. Since Jilly popped in, you know, I asked that question at the beginning, like, what's one of your favorite moments? one of my favorite moments was my intention. I love sharing, like the stuff I've been given, I consider my treasures, man. And to be able to turn around and share that with somebody else and turn them onto that, that's just the greatest joy. So, you know, I was hoping that we, you know, get you and send it out in the world, and maybe someone else would listen and get some benefit out of it as well, you know. And Jilly, I'm going to embarrass her and make her unhappy that I outed her, but she just has busted ass, man. She not only saw the truth in it and went, tested it out, stuck with it, and she's like the first actual apprentice I've taken on in many, many, many years.
That's amazing. That's so awesome.
Yay!
Awesome. Wonderful.
It's made it really, really worthwhile. Thanks.
Just the whole, you know what? I just got chills just at the whole idea that the art of apprenticeship is still alive and well in this day and age, you know, like, yeah, it's just so freaking cool.
I am very blessed.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all apprentices.
So
we're always apprentices. I love being a student more than I love teaching.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. That's the whole, I think for me, that's the whole idea, is we're here to just share ourselves and our knowledge and our joy and our pain. We're here to share all of that with each other, you know, and sometimes that creates healing. Sometimes that creates just bonds, you know what I mean? It creates so many different things just by sharing that energy, you know.
Right. The good, the bad,
and
the
that's what
ugly.
I love about this.
We are here to nourish and inspire each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The purple effervescent sunshine.
Yeah. And this is our great friend Danielle Lipton, who you will come to know and love. She is going to be a guest on both of your shows in the near future.
Nice. Awesome. I have no doubts. Just the fact that you said it, I have no doubt.
It's happening.
Awesome. Yes, she looks very familiar to me, but we'll talk about that later. Maybe we met at some event or something.
So Raphael, my brother from the beginning, man. We have
Raphael.
Yeah, dude. Raphael lives in Vienna, man. Really one of the most brilliant people I know, and I have just enjoyed working with him. And you know, he and I on a show together, he's like the cool 80s DJ, man. Yeah.
Totally.
Like some Dogma 95. You know, like kind of some if you listen to the music he listens to, it's a lot more idiosyncratic than 80s music. I'm in a good way, you know. It's borderlines on like Schadenfreude. Like if you listen to it and you're just like, oh wow, this is where the anxiety comes in, you know? And then there's kind of like a Schopenhauer soup movement of just like ducks, but they're like being made in a factory. And there's like that's kind of where the beat comes from. I don't know. You have to listen to it. It's good. It's like tropical frogs. Like on Saturn.
That's great. Pat is saying Jilly Pops, I love her new name. And
thanks, Patty. I see Patty out there.
The energy is pure here. Good to see. Yeah, that's so amazing. And I love the fact that that's exactly what I said about it, that's the connection that we all have, is our beliefs in what energy is and the relationship it has to our own existence and each other's existence and the connection between us. It's just so freaking damn cool. I just don't even know what to say. I love it. And I got to say, Andreas, I've been waiting to meet you because, like I said, I saw a couple of your broadcasts. I know one of my friends who's totally unrelated to this whole circle listens to you and was like, oh my God, I listened to that guy.
Sweet.
But
thank you all for listening. Anyone who gets in and can get past the
totally. Isn't that amazing, right? People,
yeah.
I love that. But the energy that both you guys have in speaking to you, I feel like I'm a little puppy and I'm just like, oh, say more, say more stuff. It's just like I'm so excited to just listen to you guys talk. And
also interested in like what have you been thinking about, you know, because the thing is it's also we're thinking about the things you've been thinking, like what have you been working on, you know, what have been the problems that you've been seeing this week, you know.
So Raphael, over that 10 years, my brother, any standout moments?
Well, I guess the to make it practical, so aside from the fact, of course, I got these decks here, and you can tell it's not the current edition, although I also got those. So these have actually been used a lot. Well, I think
that makes my heart jump.
To make it a full circle, so aside what I always like to say, who makes a deck like this? This doesn't exist anywhere. You don't have any deck. This gives you all these references, all these systems, whether you believe them or not, but to put them on a single card. Until today, no one has done something like this. Also, what no one has done, I think, is to do a deck that's actually vertical, which is the Angel deck, right? And aside from that, with all the horizontal, of course, yeah, thank you.
Hot dog, hamburger.
Hot dog, hamburger.
And maybe, the thing where it comes full circle, because although I think it's incredibly important that we do understand in a way the immense effect our minds have, on our world, both in the terms of how I like to say greater magic, in terms of belief systems and constructing the entire reality, but also what I like to call it, not to put it on a lower level, but just in terms of naming convention, lesser magic, which is direct effects through your will, make something move. And we had the show, Brian, as you remember, when a friend of mine actually told me and was like, yeah, I've been training this for half a year, and she's a mother with children and doesn't have a lot of time to practice. And she could start, doing physical effect moving. And so she like reconfirming it from a different angle, like this is possible, which I knew because I knew it theoretically. I had no reason to doubt Brian. He's even demonstrating it sometimes. And it's not really what it's about to show off I'm the greatest magician, but it's about this general idea that it is possible. And if it is possible in this direct way, how is it always occurring actually, especially since we're basically made up of water, and water is the most receptive substance, right? So what is the immense effects that only our attitude has? And then, all of this syncretic art and so on only helps you, I guess, to, expand your artificial boundaries, let's say, and ideally be more of who you are. And that's the whole fool's journey, I guess.
Wow. I love what you just said about expanding your artificial boundaries through your art. That's woof.
There's like a Pilgrim's Progress, like the fool has to go through. So it's like every person is channeling the energy, and like the imagery becomes a reflection of their path that the energy is going through. But everyone's it's the Tao again. Everyone does kind of a similar thing. It's not the same shape of a river, but all the rivers are breaking away, path of least resistance back to the source. It's energy flowing. So you see reflections of that, and you can learn a lot from other people's paths. You can say, oh, that's a way that I could be doing it, unless you try to become the person. Maybe then even you can, but that just is super Masonic. When you start to like embody ceremoniously the path of someone else, instead of trying to figure out what was the intention there and how is my intention, how do I channel that similarly?
Right. What does it feel like? Not what does it look like?
45 years of practice and studying and searching after many, many, many different disciplines. The space I've been in the last 15 years is a place devoid of dogma of any kind. And there is really no hierarchy there. People are better. Like my teacher's teacher does shit that like just makes me go, oh my God, I must be dreaming. But there's no like, I mean,
but tarot liberates you from. Okay, so like, what's the Wheel of Fortune card? At least in like the Waits deck, it's got tarot and Torah. Because if you read it, it's in Hebrew around the shield, and it says tarot. But if you read it in Hebrew, like you're reading the Hebrew letters, you read it right to left, right? So it says Torah then. So Torah and tarot are kind of inversions of the same idea, or at least they are ways of dealing with energy. So you have the numerological path and you have the symbolic path. It's rhyme and reason, really, the princesses.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think all religions, all like systems that create a specific pathway to something are just ways of humans kind of dealing with raw energy. One, if you've learned to see energy, if you can see auras, if you can see the energy around, it's a different message altogether, because it's not like thinking about microwaves, but you can't see them cooking the food.
Teilhard de Chardin said, "What is it? Matter is energy slowed down slow enough that you can see it."
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that, in my practical practice, where you're doing projective work and that energy has a density enough to actually cause physical things to do stuff, that's exactly right. You're reaching up and you're dialing that frequency down enough so that it has density to actually do something here.
Yeah. And read Jitterbug Perfume from Tom Robbins, if you haven't read that novel. First of all,
what is it? Say the name again.
Say that again, Rick.
Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. It's an old novel, fictional novel, but they're inanimate objects that move, and it's based on that principle that you just discussed. And
wow,
Shintoism.
It's a fun. The book is fun as hell, but it actually, he talks about that. And
so tell me if it's correct. I'm just Jitterbug Perfume, Tom Robbins.
Yeah, just check it out. It's
I'm putting it on the bottom so I remember, and later when I watch the show.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a note.
You'll see when you read it. Like, there's he characterizes inanimate objects, but he talks about how imperceptible the motions are, right. To a human eye. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. I love it. And actually, I love.
So, Jilly.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, I loved what Raphael said about just the art and how it's this extension of you. And I had a conversation with Lori Ladd. Jilly inspired me to get Lori Ladd on my show, and we spoke about her book and how she actually had created a consciousness in writing this book. Which is right there, and both of us were just like, oh my god, what did you just say? I created a consciousness, and we were like, holy shit, I did. And just the whole idea of when you create something like that and people read it and people interact with it, when you create a song, you know what I mean, and people listen to it and interact, and it makes them feel a certain way. I mean, you've certainly created a consciousness there, and that's amazing. And one of the guests on the live stream of consciousness, when I asked him what is consciousness, he said something interesting. He said the virtue is the ability to create other consciousness, and no one had ever said that on the show before. And I was like, wow, that's really true. Like, a virtue of consciousness is the ability to create other consciousness, which is
that's art.
Yeah,
that's art.
Exactly. Anything. It's anything you create.
Right.
Yeah, it contains your essence.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. I love it.
So, Jilly.
Yes.
Really wanted to see, you've pretty much been on this ride since day one, and it's been crazy to get to know you and see you really latch on to stuff and grow, and it's been really gratifying for me. I wanted to ask you if you had any particularly standout moments on the show or thoughts, criticisms.
There's just been so many. I mean, just the fact that we have evolved with it and taken the fool's journey with it, and all of the parallels and reflections and synchronicities that have arisen every week. That
is a really good point, that you're like, this show wound up being, I thought it was just going to be about cards, but every one of those cards, like, this whole thing has become the most monumental, magical event in my life. Because every week, whatever's going on in the issue of the card manifests in my life in like this over the top way, which is just really glorious and awful at the same time. And it's been a process of evolution that, you've watched, and it's been a crazy journey, like a real, it's changed me in so many ways.
Yeah, I think it's changed all of us, not only just learning about the cards, but just the way we interact and the way we see things.
Learn about yourself.
Yeah, it's more of a journey, inside for each one of us. That's what comes out of it, is the internalization, which is a really cool polarity, I guess. I
think, you know what, as you're speaking, I'm realizing it's almost like it's enlightened our ability to see that, like that's always been the case, right? Mm-hmm. But now we see it more.
I think it's really important to be able to see it. The problem is when you don't recognize it happening. So, it's one thing. Pop music is a brilliant, like Mozart It's amazing. But if you're trying to buy underpants and they're playing pop music at you, and you're like, I want to buy all this beautiful underpants, then you don't recognize that that's happening to you. That's dangerous. So it's important to understand like how it works, because then you can be like, oh wow, this music is great, but then not go crazy at the store or whatever it is that metaphor applies to. I've been thinking a lot about cartoons after Bernays, after the American media systems. Like, we'll make free media. Well, we'll make cartoons for kids to sell dolls, and all this crazy symbolism, because they've already figured out how to make sigils for symbols for their logos. They're imprinting the same as tarot on kids, and it has good and bad consequences, because a lot of those artists aren't bad people. A lot of artists are amazing people, and so it is awesome. Sometimes amazing, great stuff comes through those cartoons. They're actually waking kids up. But other times, yeah, they're just trying to sell you Pepsi or something like that. And we're now at
cartoons going way back. Popeye, bro.
Oh God!
I am what I am.
Yes,
dude. And in general, just
there's so many magical little slip-ins, little Easter eggs in that thing. Like,
and the one eye,
like the words of making. What?
Yeah, the one eye. There's definitely some going
Sorry,
on with that guy.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, now. So I was looking at this. Cartoons, movies in general is like 4 times the value of movie making is video games. But you'll hear 400 references to the new Barbie movie, 1,000 references to the new Barbie movie, and like there's one reference to Mario Kart or something. So there's kind of an esotericism to how they're controlling the symbolism of what kids are really imprinting on now through video games instead of through. Parents don't know, adults don't really understand, I think, what's going on, and it's the same thing, right? It's this new way that they're learning about symbolism. And it's really interesting because symbolism teaches you how to approach and how to deal with a problem. And the kinds of problems they're learning are beyond anything we've dealt with yet. They're post-Havelockian. We're dealing with, the children are going to be dealing with how to be in a singularity, how to have empathy for someone that's existing on the other part of the world, things that we didn't have to deal with. So it's an interesting time, because I feel like that's the way they're trying to teach kids, is through something connected to what tarot is all about.
Interesting. Wow.
Well, every single divination system is just a system of symbols you've taught your higher person to communicate with you with, and you can use anything for that. Symbols have inherent meaning, but symbols also have the meaning of what you charge into them, like your own constructed sigils. It's really cool to use symbols that have been used by thousands of years. Like, by the time the Nazis used the swastika, it had been used in India and a bunch of other places, had absolutely no connection to the meaning they attached to it at all. But now that, like, overnight, that became like this supercharged, like, blow you up kind of like image that happens on just this one thing, Right. So and that also comes with all of those thousands, I think they sort of borrowed off of those thousands of years of people pouring energy into that symbol and use that in that. Like, I don't think they started fresh. Like, the swastika wasn't like something that somebody just designed and it was brand new. It already had like many years of energy. And I think the tarot is the same way. Like, everybody that's used the tarot, like when I designed it to begin with, I used the top deck as my kind of template, because designing a whole new system was overwhelming beyond words. So it became this thing that's been used by how many hundreds of millions of people over the course of that time. And they've all contributed to the groove. It's really cool to use the symbols that you create yourself and pour energy into and can share with other people that want to drive that thing too. I'd love for you to do some experimentation, see what you think about that. Or
it's
if
interesting.
You've already done that, I just shouldn't assume.
It's interesting, though, also talking about charging old symbols. So, for instance, like doing it the other direction, the peace symbol in America, what is it? It's a Nazi burial rune. It's the Lieben rune. It's the Lieben rune and it's been inverted. So it's the death.
Well, it's inverted. It's the rune for protection.
it's the death rune. So we're using the death rune as the peace
Symbol of peace, yeah.
which is like how that is equivalent, I think, to the swastika being turned evil.
Well,
I mean,
without
that
the
is
circle,
amazing.
that rune isn't death.
Interesting.
Without the circle, that rune is protection. It's Ilos. Yeah,
Oh.
but it's reversed.
But it's reversed. So there's a comment. I just want to acknowledge some of the people out there. There's Sir Real Nil Mill saying there's a rider weight set of figurines, and he hopes he doesn't lose any of the swords.
Oh, that would be a cool thing to have. I'm not like I kind of
That's
have
kind of cool.
an eye for action figures.
The little
I have the GI
accessories of
Yogas.
the action figures in the rider weight deck.
Have you seen the GI Joe Yogas?
No.
Yeah. No, you haven't. They're so good.
That's cool.
So we're kind of getting a little close to the end. Let me.
Yeah, you know what?
Sunshine. Why don't you share what you guys are getting ready to do on the equinox?
Oh, look at that.
See, this is what GI Joe is.
Wait, hold on. Let's look
Sedona.
at it.
Ooh, what's that?
So, I mean, these are the best GI Joes ever because they're doing all the yoga poses.
Oh my God, those are amazing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, yeah, that's what
That
people
is
need.
Awesome, holy moly!
America.
Soldier
GI Joes
figures
do.
doing
That's what
yoga.
Californian GI Joes do. Like full
That's
disclosure.
awesome. I never saw that. That's awesome too. What's that?
Oh, here we go.
There we are.
And I was like,
It's one of my pieces. It's the
Hold on.
yoga spelling out love.
There you go.
Purple love.
Purple.
Oh, look at that. And let me
love.
see. Can I see it from? Oh, it's the yoga. People are doing yoga
Yeah.
poses. Nice. I love that. That's awesome. Beautiful. Wow.
So what are you getting ready? You're going off on a big adventure. Share a little bit of that with us.
Yes,
Sunshine.
we're going to Sedona during the equinox, and we're going to just vibrate high. You know, we're
Sedona's
doing
awesome,
lots of different things, breath work.
Well, you put together kind of a seminar, right? You're taking a group.
Yeah, we're doing a healing retreat. Yeah, so
Awesome.
we're going to be doing inner child work and breath work and sound healing and basking in the equinox. You know,
Vortex. There's vortex.
Yeah.
So is that an official Sunshine and Rainbows event or just Sunshine?
No.
Is that you and Hardy?
No, that's me and Hardy. But
Hardy. Okay.
Rainbow here, Jill
Yes.
and I are
Let's talk
doing,
about that.
Yeah, we're doing another event January 6th to the 13th in
Nice.
Bon Air,
which is my baby.
So we're doing the elements.
I love that.
We're going to have an
love that.
elemental focus, and we're just going to appreciate and immerse ourselves in the elements, all different things: fire, water, air, and earth exercises and
Mermaids,
activities.
yeah.
And yeah.
Fire dancing. I love it.
Yes,
Very much
with
so.
light photography,
Light
right?
painting,
Nice.
and
Awesome.
fire
Yeah.
painting, and we're
Amazing.
going to take your windsurfing too.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then we're doing one with Danielle also.
Yes.
Oh yeah. What do we got going with Danielle?
So that one we're doing on Dewey Beach in Delaware, and we're actually going to be doing a 3 times the healing. And so what I do is I channel extraterrestrials. We call the star people, and they've taught me to do attachment releases on people. And so it's pulling apart all the energetic grid structures and removing the attachments. And then we're going to have Sunshine do a purple love afterwards. So we're putting more light into the grids. And then Jill's going to do the organite figurines for them. So it's wonderful.
And the other stuff.
The flower essences.
Flower
I
essences.
love it.
Well, I
love
bet
it.
that will really be amazing. And
Yeah.
Totally. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
I love-
developing and
yeah.
it's developing so beautifully. Like
And
each
quick,
one of us,
very rapid.
each one of us has an essential part to
Yes.
it. Like
That's
one of us can't work
perfect.
without the other to
Yeah.
complete the healing
Circle.
cycle.
It has to be all 3.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Mhm.
Well,
That's amazing. That's great.
I guess we're kind of like coming to the end of the road on this part of the journey. So I'd love Sunshine, Jill. You guys, like, thank you guys so much for coming. Yeah,
Thank
and sharing.
you.
Yeah, and thanks to Rick. Rick had to go. Rick
Yeah.
and Frankie both left messages. They said they had to run, but they were. I'm so glad that Nashville was in the house.
That was cool.
You know, that's really cool. At a birthday party, that was freaking
Yeah.
awesome, unexpected. We have Vienna, we have California, we have Long Island. Yogi Satya, where are you? You're in
New-
Jersey, right?
I'm in New Jersey.
Jersey, awesome,
Yeah, right
awesome.
near New York
And then,
City.
of course, we
So
have
Andreas, like in the next few weeks, we're going to be doing we didn't really even get to the princess tonight. So the next few weeks will be the princess,
right here.
yeah, the queen and the king. So any of those
Okay.
who would want to come on for that, you would
I'm into
it's a
that
cup.
actually.
It's a suit of cups.
Princess of Cups isn't
I'll
bad.
do the next
I'd be
one.
down. I mean, this isn't a, you know, obviously we're probably, I gotta do a thing with my friend Paranoid American tonight, so we should go into Princess of Cups more. If not, like we'll do it. That'd be cool to talk about.
Okay,
more.
let's do
I
that.
mean, cups
Yeah.
are a really interesting thing. So when I did cups with my cards, I used lava lamps because I thought it was interesting, the idea of inversion. I was like, well, we're going into a future where above and below, you know, are gonna kind of neutralize each other. Like polarity is going to start to neutralize itself, and we're moving away from. I mean, I don't know if I still believe this. I just remember feeling like at 16, and I'm like writing the Mayan calendar on my arm. I'm thinking,
Sounded good at the time, right?
I figured, well, not necessarily good or bad. Like that's the other thing, because like good and bad are like polar ideas. So black and white, day and night, yes and no, all these things. Man and woman, all those things. Like we're talking so much about androgyny, but really what ends up happening is you're pushed towards centrality. And so I see there's like two directions you can go. You can go heterodox, which is like Pac-Man, where if you go out one direction, you come out the right, left and right become the same, or centralization, like centrism, where things lose themselves as they become each other.
wow.
And one or the other, but the point is a lava lamp in a cup, because the cup you can pour it out.
That's a really awesome idea. We'll like get into that in depth when we do the
Well,
whole
and we learned early on as we met you that you were not constrained to space and time. So
No,
I would
I'm
also
available.
really appreciate it if you would select, like, I really dug the music video that you opened your show with.
Oh,
so
thank you,
I would
yeah.
love to open ours with one of yours too, if you would.
Yeah, I
pick
sent a couple of things to Raf. I don't know if something suits you. I have an AI generated video because I do a lot of AI making art. Sorry for those who hate that, but you know, you can watch that one, see if you like that one. Also some deep fake stuff. You know, I make a lot of art on the side. You know.
Well, that would be really good. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for coming and sharing with us tonight.
Yeah, dude, thank
and
you for having me.
Raphael, my brother, much love for being on me with me on this journey, man. It's really,
dude, Raf's a knight, you know.
Been a really, really wonderful connection, man. And Sin, you wonderful you. Don't you go changing.
I'm so honored to be here and to be a part of it. And you know what? I get to contribute more and more all the time. So
well, I love you very much, man. It's been
I love
crazy.
you too, man.
Happy anniversary, my brother.
Happy anniversary to everybody.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. Awesome. We'll see everybody next week. I'm going to play the outro. Peace.
Peace and love.